Welcome to Chapter 7, Section 3, Percents and Decimals. To begin with, we're going to start talking about the key concept, percents as decimals. To write a percent as a decimal, you first rewrite the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100. Then write the fraction as a decimal. Okay. So basically what you're looking at is you could have 13% over 100. This would mean 13 hundredths. Okay, 13 hundredths, which would be 0.13. All right, so again, rewrite the percent as a fraction with the denominator of 100, and then write the fraction as a decimal. So as long as you have a denominator of 100, it's easy to write the decimal. You need to remember these. This isn't part of your note-taking guides, but please add these to them. That a 1 by itself, the first spot to the left is the ones, tens, hundreds, thousandths. To the right, it's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So that will help you when you're dealing with earlier when we had 13 hundredths, because that means you would have two place values, and it would be 0.13. So taking a look, rewrite the percent as a fraction. So 86 over 100, because the denominator is a 100, which means we write 86 hundredths as a decimal, which means we need to have point, and hundredths is the second decimal place, so it's 0.86. That is the decimal. 1%, again, rewrite the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100. Now be careful with this, because when we're dealing with 100ths, we still need to have two place values. And that 1 has to be in the hundredths spot. So we put a 0 in front of the 1, and that means 100ths. All right, so for this, rewrite the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100. That's still the same step. But then we write as a mixed number. So writing as a mixed number means we look at 100 and 110. And hopefully you realize that there can be a whole. And then you look at what's left over. If you took 100 away from the numerator, you'd have 10 left over. So you would have 1 and 10 hundredths left over. So 1 and 10 hundredths. As a decimal, 10 hundredths would be 0.10. So you would rewrite this as 1.10 or 1.1. Okay, there's an or here, all right? This is not part of your note-taking guides, but this might make things a little bit easier for you. Hopefully you've noticed something about these three examples. 86% became 0.86. 1% became 0.01. 110% went to 0.10. So you need to notice something. Notice that when you go from percent to decimal, there are always decimal places. Okay. So there are always two decimal places. 110% became 1.10. 1% became 0.01. 86% became 0.86. So hopefully you see that pattern. Two decimal places. Because the OR here, when going from percent to decimal, you can quickly move the decimal two places to the left. That means now I can give you any sort of decimal or percent. 40%, 25%, 33%, 99%, 2%. And without doing the dividing and the fractions, which is important for you to remember though, all you really need to know is that there's a decimal point here, and you can quickly convert these percentages to decimals by moving two places to the left. That becomes 0.40. This one becomes 0.25. This one becomes 0.33. This one becomes 0.99. And the last one becomes 0.02. This is the quick way. Okay? We're talking about doing this quickly. All right, so pause the video, try these on your own. Convert these percentages to decimals. All right, welcome back. You should have written, it would have been good for you to do 34 over 100, which means 34 hundredths, which ultimately gives you 0.34. But you could have gone from this to this pretty much instantly. 4%, you should write 4 over 100, which is 4 hundredths, which means 0.04. Again, moving two decimal places. 154, you should have written as 154 over 100, which then is the same thing as 1 and 54 hundredths, which is the same thing as 1 and 54 hundredths, which gives you 1.54. And again, you quickly could have just moved the decimal place. This brings us to the next key concept, writing decimals as percents. So to write a decimal as a percent, write the decimal as a fraction, whose denominator is 100, then write the fraction as a percent. This means if you have 0.24, all right, write this as 24 hundredths, which is 24%. And what you're going to notice is, of course, there's an OR. All you really have to do for going from decimal to percent is move your decimal place to the right. Okay, you're going to move this 2 units to the right. So this, we should follow the right steps. So divide by 100, and then that means 44%. 44 hundredths is 44%. could have done 0.44 and moved the decimal 2 places to get the same answer. 1.81, that is 1 and 81 hundredths. Right, the mixed number as an improper fraction, that would be 181 hundredths. 1 times 100 plus 81 is 181. And then that just means 181%. Now, the quick way again, move the decimal 2 places to the right. 181%. All right, here we go. Pause the video. Try these, check your progresses on your own. And you should be back, and you can do this one of 2 ways. The proper way is to look at this and say that 0.82 is 82 hundredths. 82 hundredths. That means 82 hundredths, which is equivalent to 82%. Now, remember, the quick way, take the decimal and move it over 2 places. Okay? That's all you have to do, 82%. 101.68, the quick way gives you 168%. Move the decimal. The math behind it says it's 1 and 68 hundredths. Converting it to a improper fraction gives me 168 hundredths, which now tells me 168%. All right, we are almost done here. Here's a story problem. In 2000, about 0.32 of Texas populations was Hispanic. Write this as a percent. You can use the quick way if you want, or write it as a fraction. 32 hundredths ends up being 32%. Moving the decimal 2 places still gives you 32%. Here's a check your progress. It's the same type of question. Atmosphere is composed of some gases. 78.78 of the atmosphere is nitrogen. Write this as a percent. Quickly, in your head, that's 78%. The math behind it is dividing by 100. 78 hundredths is 78%. All right, you should very easily be able to do the check your understandings from page 379, and it should be exercises 1 through 13. All right, and I would recommend start just using the quick way. That's all you really have to do. And then we will work on these in class. Good luck.